If you are here, then understand this clearly. This prayer is spoken from authority. There are battles you recognize and battles you never see, pressures you understand and pressures you cannot explain. But none of them operate outside the reach of God's power. If your peace has been attacked, if your family has come under pressure, if your health, destiny, progress, or mind has been targeted, if witchcraft, sorcery, hidden manipulation, spiritual interference, or unseen opposition have been operating quietly around your life, this prayer is not for fear. This prayer is for enforcement. Psalm 91 is not poetry, it is covenant protection, it is divine covering. It is spiritual defense established by God Himself. Strongholds may have been formed, but strongholds collapse under divine authority. What was done in secret is exposed by light. What was sent against you loses power in truth. What has been assigned to disturb you cannot remain where divine covering is activated. Protection is not symbolic, it is active. Authority is not distant, it is present. Covering is already established. Peace is already present. Authority is already active. If you are standing in faith, like this video as an agreement with this prayer, and in the comments write, "Witchcraft has no power over my life," let your declarations stand as spiritual evidence as we continue. Heavenly Father, I come before you with reverence and trust, not because I am strong on my own, but because you are faithful. I rest my heart in your presence. I choose to believe your word above every fear, every pressure, every invisible battle, every heaviness that has tried to follow me. Today I place myself under the covering of Psalm 91. I dwell in the shelter of the Most High. I rest in the shadow of the Almighty. You are my refuge. You are my fortress. You are my God in whom I trust. I thank you that your protection is not fragile, not temporary, not uncertain. It is firm, established, and active even when I cannot see it. You deliver from hidden traps. You shield from unseen dangers. You guard paths that I walk daily. You cover the places I sleep. You go before conversations I have not yet entered. You defend areas of my life I have not yet understood. Under your wings, I am not exposed. I am not abandoned. I am not unprotected. Every plan formed in darkness against my peace dissolves in your light. Every word spoken against my life loses authority in your presence. Every burden that does not come from you is gently lifted. I do not live in fear of what is hidden, because you see what is hidden. I do not panic over what I cannot explain, because you understand all things. You are not disturbed by opposition. You are not intimidated by resistance. You remain sovereign, steady, and in control. Your word says that you command your angels concerning me to guard me in all my ways. Let your protection remain active around my mind, my home, my body, my work, my relationships, and my future. Let every place connected to my life be governed by your peace. Let no disturbance remain where your presence rests. Let confusion give way to clarity. Let heaviness give way to stillness. Let anxiety give way to trust. I choose not to live in dread of spiritual forces. I choose to live in awareness of your authority. Darkness does not define my life. Your light does. Fear does not direct my steps. Your word does. What tries to follow me cannot overtake me. What attempts to influence me cannot control me. What seeks access cannot enter where you have sealed. You promised that no evil shall befall me, and no harm shall come near my dwelling place. I receive that promise with quiet confidence. I receive your protection without striving. I receive your covering without tension. I receive your peace without doubt. Where there has been spiritual pressure, let there now be spiritual rest. Where there has been disturbance, let there now be stillness. Where there has been heaviness, let there now be relief. Even when the world feels unstable, you remain unshaken. Even when others around me struggle, your hand remains steady over my life. Even when circumstances change, your covenant does not. You are faithful when I am weary. You are present when I am unsure. You are working when I cannot see. I trust you with my life. I trust you with my family. I trust you with my future. I trust you with what I understand and what I do not yet understand. Your protection does not expire. Your covering does not weaken. Your presence does not withdraw. Thank you for being my refuge. Thank you for being the one who watches over me while I rest. I remain under your shadow. I remain within your will. Remain in your peace. Let ministering spirits bring divine provision to every area where I have known lack. And let your peace settle gently over every area where I have known unrest. Let your covering remain constant over my life, not only in moments of prayer, but in every ordinary moment of my day, in my rising and my resting, in my speaking and my silence, in my movement and in my stillness. According to Psalm 91, you remain my dwelling place, not occasionally, but continually. I do not visit your presence. I live within it. This means that protection is not something I chase. It is something that surrounds me. Your presence governs my atmosphere. Your authority shapes my environment. Nothing enters my life unless it passes through your permission. Wherever my name has been mentioned with ill intent, wherever whispers have been spoken with envy, wherever words have been released through jealousy, manipulation, witchcraft, sorcery, divination, or hidden spiritual hostility, I place that space under the authority of your truth. Let every negative word lose power. Let every spiritual projection collapse under the weight of your light. I acknowledge that darkness may attempt influence, but it does not hold authority. You alone hold authority over my life. You alone determine my outcome. You alone establish my future. Every form of spiritual interference loses its effect when exposed to your presence. Every hidden agenda dissolves where your peace reigns. Your word says that you deliver from the snare of the fowler, from traps that are set quietly and carefully. This means I do not fear schemes I cannot see, conversations I was not invited into, plans I was not told about, or intentions that were hidden from me. If they are not from you, they cannot succeed. Let every pattern of sabotage be interrupted. Let every recurring cycle of delay, stagnation, confusion, exhaustion, or emotional heaviness be gently dismantled. Where spiritual pressure once lingered, let spiritual clarity now take its place. Where unrest once followed me, let peace now accompany me. I place my mind under your protection. Let no anxiety linger where you have given rest. Let no confusion remain where you have given wisdom. Let no fear grow where you have established trust. Let my thoughts remain governed by your truth rather than by invisible pressures or emotional turbulence. I place my body under your covering. Let every form of spiritual affliction, heaviness, or unseen burden that manifests physically lose influence. Let health be sustained. Let strength be renewed. Let rest be restored. Let vitality return naturally, gently, steadily, under the governance of your peace. I place my relationships under your authority. Let no manipulation, jealousy, control, envy, or hidden hostility find space to operate. Let every relationship aligned with your will grow stronger. Let every connection that carries darkness lose its hold. Let only what is pure, sincere, and ordained remain. I place my future in your hands without fear. No witchcraft projection can rewrite what you have authored. No sorcery can interfere with divine timing. No hidden spiritual interference can derail purpose. What you have written over my life stands secure, untouched, and preserved under the shadow of the Almighty. Your protection extends into every environment I enter. The rooms I walk into are influenced by your presence. The places I sit are touched by your peace. The paths I take are aligned with your oversight. I do not walk exposed. I do not live uncovered. Even when I am unaware, your hand remains active around me. According to Psalm 91, you are not only a shelter, but a dwelling place. This means my safety is not occasional, it is habitual. Your covering does not fluctuate with my emotions. Your defense does not weaken with my tiredness. Your authority does not diminish with changing seasons. It remains constant where there have been spiritual attempts to interfere with progress, to delay outcomes, to complicate simple paths, to cause unnecessary obstacles. I trust you to quietly dismantle those efforts, not with chaos, but with precision, not with fear, but with order. What is not from you cannot remain. I acknowledge that witchcraft, sorcery, manipulation, and hidden hostility exist in the world. Yet I also acknowledge that they do not outrank your authority. They do not override your word. They do not supersede your covenant. They do not cancel your promises. They simply dissolve where your presence is honored. Every spiritual assignment released through jealousy, resentment, bitterness, or ill intention finds no resting place in my life. There is no agreement within me. There is no access point. There is no invitation. My spirit remains aligned with truth, grounded in faith, and anchored in peace. Psalm 91 promises that no evil shall befall me. This is not denial of reality, but alignment with divine assurance. It means that what is designed to harm cannot accomplish its purpose. What is intended to weaken cannot prevail. What is sent to disturb cannot take root. Where spiritual pressure once sought to influence my dreams, my thoughts, my emotions, or my discernment, I now rest under divine clarity. My sleep is guarded. My thoughts are ordered. My emotions are steady. My spirit is not accessible to interference. It remains covered. Let every hidden voice speaking confusion fall silent. Let every subtle influence attempting discouragement lose strength. Let every spiritual heaviness attempting to follow me lose direction. What does not originate from you cannot follow me. What is not aligned with your will cannot remain attached. I release control over battles I cannot see into the hands of a God who sees all things. I do not strive to defend myself spiritually. I rest in the assurance that you are my defender. You intercept what I never notice. You block what I never detect. You resolve what I never hear. Even in silence, you are active. Even in stillness, you are working. Even when I feel nothing, you remain present. This is my confidence. This is my peace. This is my stability, that I'm not preserved by effort, but by covenant, not by fear, but by faith. I remain under your shadow, not because I'm striving, but because you have already drawn me close. Your word says that you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. That truth settles quietly within me. It steadies my breathing. It anchors my spirit. It reminds me that safety is not something I must earn. It is something you freely provide. You promise that you will cover me with your feathers, and that under your wings I will find refuge. This covering is not symbolic to me, it is personal. It rests over my thoughts, over my emotions, over my decisions, over my vulnerabilities. Nothing hostile can move freely where your covering remains. Your truth is my shield and my defense, not my arguments, not my explanations, not my effort. Your truth. It surrounds me with consistency. It blocks what I would never notice. It filters what I would never discern. It protects me from things I am not even aware of. Where there are those who engage in witchcraft, sorcery, divination, manipulation, or hidden spiritual hostility, I do not respond with fear. I respond with alignment. I remain aligned with your word. I remain aligned with your will. And in that alignment, every opposing influence loses relevance and loses access. You have said that no harm will overtake me and no disaster will come near my dwelling. I receive this not as theory, but as reality. My space is governed by peace. My atmosphere is governed by light. My life is governed by your authority. Nothing operates beyond your oversight. You have declared that you command your angels concerning me to guard me in all my ways. That means I am protected in movement and in stillness, in transition and in waiting, in public and in private, in what is seen and in what is unseen. I am never unguarded. Where others may speak words intended to disturb, those words find no soil within me. Where intentions may be formed in secrecy, they do not reach me. where spiritual projections may be released through jealousy, bitterness, or resentment, they find no agreement within my spirit. Even if darkness gathers around environments, even if pressure increases around circumstances, even if uncertainty surrounds situations, you remain constant. You remain present. You remain faithful. And because you remain, I remain secure. You have promised that when I call upon you, you answer me. You are with me in trouble. You deliver me. You honor me. This assurance does not produce anxiety within me. It produces stillness. It produces trust. It produces quiet confidence that I am not navigating life alone. You remain present not only in moments of prayer, but in the quiet spaces of my day, in the pauses between words, in the spaces between decisions, in the places where I sit with my own thoughts. Even there, your protection does not weaken. Even there, your awareness does not fade. Even there, your covering remains intact. I do not live vulnerable to unseen forces because I do not live outside of your awareness. Your eyes are attentive to my life. Your hand is steady over my direction. Your presence surrounds what concerns me before it ever reaches me. Nothing arrives unfiltered. Nothing approaches unnoticed. Nothing interferes unchecked. Where there are individuals who operate through manipulation, through jealousy, through hidden resentment, through spiritual practices that seek to influence outcomes from the shadows, I do not contend with them directly. I remain still in you, and in that stillness, every ungodly intention loses momentum. Every hidden work loses alignment. Every plan loses structure. You establish boundaries around my life that no human intention can cross. You place limits that no spiritual interference can bypass. What you have not permitted cannot enter. What you have not authored cannot endure. What you have not spoken cannot stand. I acknowledge that some battles are not physical. Yet I also acknowledge that they are not mine to fight. You are the one who stands between me and what seeks to disturb my peace. You are the one who absorbs what would otherwise reach me. You are the one who resolves what I would never be able to confront. Let my home remain a place of calm. Let no heaviness linger in its atmosphere. Let no spiritual residue remain within its walls. Let every room reflect rest. Let every space carry clarity. Let every corner hold the quiet assurance of your presence. Let my work be preserved from interference. Let my efforts not be hindered by unseen resistance. Let progress not be delayed by hidden opposition. Let favor rest naturally upon what you have assigned to my hands. Let what is mine by purpose not be obstructed by what is not from you. Let my health remain under your oversight. Where weakness has tried to linger, let strength be restored. Where exhaustion has tried to settle, let renewal return. Where imbalance has tried to persist, let harmony be reestablished. My body remains under the governance of your peace. Let my emotions remain stable under your care. Let no external pressure distort my discernment. Let no internal unrest overwhelm my clarity. Let my responses be shaped by wisdom, not by anxiety. Let my reactions be guided by understanding, not by fear. I remain at rest in this truth, that I am not sustaining myself. I am not protecting myself. I am not preserving myself. I am held, guarded, and covered by a God who does not sleep, who does not overlook, and who does not withdraw his attention. I stand quietly within the authority you have given me, and from this place of stillness, I renounce every agreement my life has ever had, with fear, with heaviness, with confusion, with delay, with oppression, with misfortune, or with any influence that did not originate from you. What was never planted by you no longer has permission to remain. I declare that every negative word spoken over my life loses its power. Every sentence formed in secrecy, every utterance shaped by jealousy, every intention released through witchcraft, sorcery, divination, or manipulation finds no echo in my atmosphere. What was sent does not remain. What was released does not settle. What was projected does not attach. Where harm has been intended, I decree reversal. Where disruption has been assigned, I decree restoration. Where heaviness has been sent, I decree peace. Where confusion has been released, I decree clarity. Where delay has been engineered, I decree divine alignment. What was formed against my life quietly returns to its origin without effect upon me. I renounce every hidden covenant made without my knowledge, every spiritual contract formed through ignorance, through vulnerability, through emotional seasons, through dreams, through words spoken carelessly, or through environments I once entered unaware, is now rendered void under the authority of your truth. I declare that my life remains sealed. My spirit remains inaccessible. My mind remains guarded. My body remains covered. My home remains protected. There is no open door where you have closed access. There is no pathway where you have placed a boundary. Every cycle of recurring struggle that did not originate from your will is gently dismantled. Every pattern of resistance that has attempted to repeat itself is broken without drama, without chaos, without force, simply by the steady authority of your presence over my life. I decree that what was meant to weaken me instead strengthens my discernment. What was meant to disturb me instead deepens my peace. What was meant to distract me instead sharpens my focus. The intentions of darkness lose purpose where divine order is established. I speak quietly yet firmly over my life that no external force governs my destiny. No hidden influence shapes my outcomes. No spiritual interference edits what you have written. What you have designed unfolds undisturbed. What you have ordained proceeds uninterrupted. I declare that every monitoring presence, every unseen observation, every silent interference loses awareness of my path. What is not assigned by you cannot follow me. What is not aligned with you cannot track me. What is not sent by you cannot locate me. My atmosphere is filled with light. My path is surrounded by peace. My spirit is anchored in truth. I remain untouched by what is hidden, unmoved by what is subtle, and untroubled by what is unseen, because I dwell continually under the shadow of the Almighty. I remain aware that protection is not fragile. It does not depend on my emotions, my consistency, or my strength. It rests upon your covenant, and covenant does not fluctuate. Because of this, I do not live cautiously. I live confidently. I move through life aware that I am kept. I declare that every door you have opened before me remains open without obstruction. No hidden resistance can delay what you have ordained. No unseen interference can slow what you have released. No opposition can redirect what you have established. My progress is preserved. Where my life has intersected with people carrying envy, resentment, control, or hidden hostility, I release myself from every spiritual residue of those connections. I do not carry emotional weight that is not mine. I do not hold burdens that were never assigned to me. I remain free within your peace. I renounce every atmosphere that once felt heavy. I renounce every environment that once weakened my clarity. I renounce every season that once distorted my perception. I do not carry forward what belonged to a previous season. I walk forward renewed, unaffected, unburdened. I declare that my dreams are peaceful. My sleep is guarded. My rest is undisturbed. Where spiritual interference once attempted to infiltrate the quiet places of my mind, there is now stillness. There is order. There is safety. There is covering. I decree that every voice not aligned with your truth grows silent around me. Advice rooted in manipulation loses influence. Counsel shaped by selfish intention loses credibility. Only wisdom aligned with your purpose remains audible within my life. I remain preserved from subtle traps. I remain guarded from hidden motives. I remain covered from quiet manipulation. Even where intention is concealed behind kindness, even where motives are masked behind familiarity, your discernment protects me. I declare that what follows me is goodness and mercy, not fear, not heaviness, not confusion. My path is not shadowed by spiritual residue. My future is not clouded by unseen resistance. I move forward, clean, clear, and covered. Where others may experience instability, I remain grounded. Where others may feel exposed, I remain shielded. Where others may feel uncertain, I remain anchored. This is not because I am immune to life, but because I am sheltered within divine presence. I continue in quiet trust, aware that I am not battling for victory, I am living from protection. I am not striving for safety, I am dwelling in covering. I am not defending myself, I am resting within the shadow of the Almighty. I remain settled in the understanding that nothing reaches me by accident. What approaches my life passes through divine awareness first. What attempts access is filtered by divine wisdom. What seeks entry is examined by divine authority. I am not exposed to randomness. I am preserved by intention. I declare that every atmosphere around me becomes lighter because of your presence. Conversations shift, environments soften, tension dissolves, confusion clears. Not because I force change, but because your peace alters the space I occupy. I renounce every lingering residue of past spiritual battles. I do not carry memories as burdens. I do not carry wounds as identities. I do not carry seasons of struggle into seasons of rest. What you have closed no longer holds emotional or spiritual authority over me. Where opposition once felt persistent, I now experience quiet resistance against what is not from you. Where interference once felt subtle, it is now ineffective. Where pressure once felt overwhelming, it now finds no point of connection. I remain out of reach. I decree that every delay not aligned with divine timing is corrected. Every diversion not aligned with divine purpose is redirected. Every disruption not aligned with divine will is resolved. What belongs to me arrives without strain. What is for me unfolds without obstruction. I declare that my discernment remains sharp, not suspicious, but clear. I recognize what brings peace. I recognize what drains peace. I recognize what aligns. I recognize what unsettles. And I choose alignment with what sustains spiritual clarity. Where people operate from hidden motives, I remain unmoved. Where words carry double meaning, I remain unaffected. Where intentions are layered with manipulation, I remain untouched. My spirit does not absorb what is not aligned with truth. I speak over my life that spiritual clarity replaces spiritual confusion. Emotional stability replaces emotional turbulence. Quiet confidence replaces internal unrest. I do not live in tension with the unseen. I live in harmony with divine oversight. I continue forward aware that I am not navigating this life blindly. I am guided. I am watched over. I am preserved. Even when I do not feel it, even when I do not sense it, even when I do not understand it, protection remains active. I rest in this steady truth that I am not under threat. I am under covering. I am not surrounded by darkness. I am surrounded by presence. I am not vulnerable to the unseen. I am secured within divine order. I remain aware that my life is not governed by chance, nor influenced by unseen forces beyond your authority. Everything that concerns me remains within your sight. Every transition, every delay, every shift, every open door, every closed door is held within your wisdom. I am not navigating blindly. I am being led quietly. I declare that every atmosphere connected to my life becomes aligned with peace. Where tension once lingered, calm settles. Where unrest once hovered, stillness takes root. Where confusion once attempted to dominate, clarity now prevails. Your presence reshapes environments without effort. I renounce every emotional weight that did not originate from truth. I release every internal burden that was formed by fear. I let go of every invisible pressure that attempted to occupy space within my spirit. I remain light within your covering. I remain unburdened within your care. I decree that every pattern of resistance dissolves. Where opposition once attempted to slow progress, momentum now flows naturally. Where obstacles once appeared repeatedly, pathways now open gently. Where interference once attempted to complicate purpose, simplicity now returns. I declare that every subtle form of manipulation, whether spiritual, emotional, or relational, loses influence over my life. I'm not easily swayed. I'm not easily unsettled. I'm not easily drawn into confusion. My spirit remains grounded. My discernment remains active. My peace remains intact. Where words have been spoken with ill intention, those words carry no weight. Where conversations have taken place in secrecy, those conversations hold no power. Where thoughts have been projected toward me through envy or resentment, those projections find no agreement within me. There is no echo. There is no attachment. I affirm that my identity remains rooted in truth, not shaped by external influence. I'm not defined by what others assume. I'm not shaped by what others project. I'm not altered by what others intend. I remain established within divine purpose. I declare that every area of my life remains under protection, including the areas I do not often think about, the places I do not often revisit, the spaces I rarely examine, and the moments I hardly notice. Even there, your covering remains active. I move through each day with quiet confidence, not because I'm unaware of the world, but because I am deeply aware of your presence. I do not live with suspicion. I live with trust. I do not live in defense. I live in alignment. I continue with steady assurance that I am not merely surviving through life, but being preserved within it. I am not simply protected from danger. I am being guided toward purpose. And in this truth, my spirit remains calm, stable, and deeply at rest. I remain grounded in the awareness that your presence does not fluctuate around me. It is not distant on difficult days, and it is not closer on peaceful days. It remains constant. It remains attentive. It remains involved. This constancy is the foundation of my stability. I declare that my path remains ordered even when I cannot yet see the full direction. What unfolds before me does so with intention. What delays do not confuse you. What transitions do not disrupt your plan. I walk forward without anxiety because I am not walking alone. I renounce every subtle fear that attempts to disguise itself as wisdom. I renounce every quiet doubt that attempts to sound like caution. I choose trust over suspicion. I choose peace over overthinking. I choose alignment over control. I decree that every atmosphere I carry into spaces becomes an atmosphere of calm. I do not bring heaviness into rooms. I do not bring tension into conversations. I do not bring unease into relationships. I carry peace because I am surrounded by peace. I declare that my decisions are guided, not rushed. My timing is ordered, not pressured. My progress is intentional, not forced. What is for me arrives without striving. What is not for me falls away without regret. Where emotional wounds once attempted to influence present choices, their authority is dissolved. I am not led by past pain. I am not directed by old disappointments. I am not governed by previous losses. I am guided by present wisdom. I affirm that clarity continues to grow within me. Discernment becomes more refined. Awareness becomes more balanced. I no longer second-guess peace. I no longer doubt stillness. I no longer question the quiet assurance that accompanies your guidance. I declare that every season of my life is held within your wisdom. Whether it feels full or uncertain, whether it feels active or slow, nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Nothing is disconnected. All of it remains under divine oversight. I continue forward with gentle confidence, knowing that what protects me is not fragile, what covers me is not temporary, and what surrounds me is not uncertain. I am not carried by momentum. I am carried by presence. I remain in this steady truth without struggle, without noise, that I am seen, am known, am kept, and I am guided. And because of this, my spirit remains settled, my heart remains steady, and my path remains secure. I remain settled in the understanding that your protection does not require constant awareness from me to remain active. Even when my attention shifts to daily responsibilities, even when my thoughts are occupied with ordinary concerns, your covering does not withdraw. It remains present without interruption. I declare that the pace of my life is governed by wisdom, not pressure. I do not rush what requires patience. I do not force what requires timing. I do not pursue what requires alignment. I move gently, steadily, aware that what is ordained unfolds without strain. I renounce the need to control outcomes that belong in your hands. I release the burden of overthinking decisions that require trust. I let go of the quiet anxiety that attempts to disguise itself as responsibility. I choose peace over tension. I choose faith over mental weight. I decree that every season I walk through remains purposeful, even when it feels quiet, even when it feels slow, even when it feels uncertain. Silence does not mean absence. Stillness does not mean stagnation. Waiting does not mean delay. Everything remains active under your care. I declare that the areas of my life that once felt fragile are now strengthened. Where confidence was once uncertain, stability is now established. Where clarity was once clouded, understanding now grows. Where doubt once lingered, assurance now rests. I affirm that my life is not shaped by external pressure, but by internal alignment. I do not bend to fear. I do not shift with instability. I remain anchored, consistent, grounded in truth, rather than influenced by uncertainty. I speak quietly over my days that peace remains my default state. Calm remains my foundation. Stability remains my posture. Even when circumstances change, my inner stillness does not. I am not easily shaken. I am not easily unsettled. I continue forward without the need to prove anything, without the need to defend myself, without the need to explain my path. What is established by you does not require validation. What is protected by you does not require anxiety. I remain aware that what sustains me is not effort, not control, not vigilance, but presence. Your presence sustains my clarity. Your presence sustains my peace. Your presence sustains my direction. I rest in this simple, steady confidence that I am not walking through life alone, not exposed to uncertainty, not vulnerable to unseen disruption, but consistently accompanied, consistently covered, and consistently guided. I remain conscious that your covering does not fluctuate with circumstance. It does not thin when life feels complex. It does not weaken when questions arise. It does not retreat when answers feel delayed. It remains steady because it is rooted in your nature, not in my conditions. I declare that every space connected to my life remains governed by peace. Even the spaces I cannot physically see, even the conversations I'm not part of, even the plans unfolding beyond my awareness. Your authority extends further than my understanding, and I trust its reach. I renounce every internal voice that does not align with truth, every thought that attempts to distort clarity, every whisper that attempts to create doubt, every suggestion that attempts to generate fear. My mind remains a place of stillness, not confusion. I decree that my discernment continues to mature gently. I do not become hardened by life. I do not become closed by experience. I do not become guarded by disappointment. Instead, I remain open, wise, steady, and aware, guided by peace rather than suspicion. I declare that my steps remain ordered. Even when the path ahead is not fully visible, I do not require full clarity to move forward. I require trust, and that trust keeps me steady, keeps me patient, keeps me grounded. Where uncertainty once tempted me to hesitate, confidence now settles quietly. Where fear once suggested caution, wisdom now provides direction. Where confusion once created delay, clarity now brings progress. I affirm that my life is not drifting. It is unfolding. It is not stalling. It is aligning. It is not chaotic. It is ordered. Even the parts I do not yet understand are held within divine wisdom. I remain untouched by unnecessary urgency. I do not feel pressured to arrive quickly. I do not feel burdened to achieve immediately. What is meant for me unfolds in its own time, without force, without anxiety, without strain. I continue forward, aware that protection is not only about what I'm kept from, but also about what I'm led toward. You do not only shield me from harm, you also guide me toward purpose. I rest in this awareness with quiet certainty that every step I take is not only safe, but meaningful, not only protected, but purposeful, not only preserved, but guided. I remain anchored in the quiet understanding that your protection is not a distant promise, but a present reality. It is active in the unseen spaces, working beyond my awareness, sustaining what I could never sustain by myself. This awareness does not create tension within me. It creates rest. I declare that every day I walk into is already overseen by you. Before conversations begin, before decisions unfold, before events take shape, your wisdom is already present. I do not walk into uncertainty. I walk into divine awareness. I renounce every tendency to measure my safety by circumstances. I renounce the habit of judging peace by outward conditions. My assurance is not rooted in what I see, but in who you are. And because you remain unchanged, my confidence remains steady. I decree that every moment of vulnerability is met with divine covering. Where I feel unsure, you remain certain. Where I feel weak, you remain strong. Where I feel unguarded, you remain attentive. There is no space where your presence cannot reach. I declare that even my unspoken concerns are known to you. Even the prayers I have not yet formed are understood. Even the areas I struggle to articulate are already within your care. This awareness keeps my spirit settled and my heart unburdened. I affirm that my life is not open to intrusion. It is held within divine boundaries. What you have enclosed cannot be accessed. What you have sealed cannot be penetrated. What you have covered cannot be exposed. I speak over my journey that progress continues without strain. Growth unfolds without pressure. Change happens without chaos. Everything that unfolds does so within the quiet order of your wisdom. I remain confident that even when outcomes are delayed, they are not denied. Even when paths are unclear, they are not abandoned. Even when timing feels slow, it is not wasted. Everything remains aligned with divine intention. I continue forward with calm awareness that I do not have to carry the weight of what may come. I only carry the grace of this moment, and that grace is sufficient, steady, and sustaining. I rest within this truth without resistance and without effort, that my life is held, my path is guarded, my spirit is covered, and my future is secure within the presence that never leaves. I remain aware that nothing in my life is unaccounted for before you. Every detail, every transition, every hidden concern is already within your knowledge. This awareness does not burden me. It steadies me. It reminds me that I am never navigating unknown territory alone. I declare that my atmosphere remains guarded even when I am unaware of the need for guarding. Your protection does not require my vigilance to function. It operates by your faithfulness, not by my effort. And because you are faithful, I remain secure. I renounce every belief that suggests I must carry fear in order to be wise. I reject the idea that awareness requires anxiety. I choose calm discernment. I choose grounded understanding. I choose trust over tension. I decree that every place connected to my life becomes a place of peace. Where I walk, peace walks. Where I rest, peace settles. Where I speak, peace shapes the atmosphere. Not because I force it, but because your presence rests upon me. I declare that no hidden intention formed against my peace gains strength through time. What is not aligned with truth does not grow. What is not rooted in light does not mature. What is not sustained by you quietly fades. I affirm that my boundaries are not fragile. They are upheld by divine authority. What seeks access without permission remains outside. What attempts to cross without alignment finds no opening. My life is not exposed. It is preserved. I continue forward without the weight of anticipation. I do not live braced for impact. I do not move cautiously out of fear. I move steadily out of trust. This trust is not naive. It is grounded in awareness of your sovereignty. I speak over my life that stability continues to deepen. Where uncertainty once lingered, assurance grows. Where rest once felt distant, calm becomes familiar. Where peace once felt fragile, it now feels established. I remain grounded in the understanding that being covered does not make me passive. It makes me steady. It does not make me unaware. It makes me discerning. It does not make me fearful. It makes me secure. I continue in this quiet confidence without striving and without tension, knowing that I am not held by chance, not sustained by effort, not preserved by caution, but continually upheld by presence. I remain settled in the awareness that my life is not exposed to uncertainty even when circumstances feel unfamiliar. What feels unknown to me is already known to you. What feels unpredictable to me is already understood by you. And this awareness keeps my spirit steady. I declare that my days are not shaped by fear of what might happen, but by trust in what is already overseen. I do not wake with apprehension. I wake with quiet confidence. I do not move through life guarded by anxiety. I move through life guided by peace. I renounce every tendency to interpret silence as danger. Silence is not absence. Stillness is not neglect. Delay is not abandonment. I release every thought that attempts to misinterpret your timing. I remain at rest within your wisdom. I decree that even the areas of my life that feel ordinary are sacred under your covering. Routine moments, small decisions, quiet conversations, private thoughts. None of it is outside your care. All of it is included in your oversight. I declare that I am not overlooked. I am not forgotten. I am not set aside. Every season I walk through remains seen. Every transition I experience remains acknowledged. Every step I take remains noticed. This awareness anchors me. I affirm that nothing meant for my good can be intercepted by unseen interference. What you have prepared arrives intact. What you have assigned remains preserved. What you have ordained unfolds without distortion. Purpose is not fragile when it is held by you. Continue with quiet assurance that even when life feels slow, it is not stagnant. Even when progress feels subtle, it is not absent. Even when movement feels minimal, alignment is still taking place. Everything remains active beneath the surface. I speak over my life that calm becomes my natural state, not something I struggle to maintain. Peace becomes familiar, not something I chase. Trust becomes instinct, not something I force. This is the effect of living under continual covering. I remain attentive without anxiety, aware without fear, discerning without suspicion. My awareness does not disturb my peace. It protects it. My understanding does not burden my spirit. It steadies it. I continue in this steady rhythm of trust, neither rushing ahead nor holding back. Simply moving forward within the quiet assurance that I am guided, I am kept, and I am continuously surrounded by presence. I remain grounded in the understanding that this covering is not temporary, not seasonal, and not dependent on circumstance. It is continuous, it is intentional, it is sustained by your faithfulness rather than by my effort. This assurance keeps my spirit settled. I declare that my life remains ordered beneath your oversight. Not chaotic, not scattered, not vulnerable. What unfolds does so with meaning. What shifts does so with purpose. What changes does so with wisdom. Nothing is adrift. I renounce every subtle pressure to doubt what has already been established. I release every thought that attempts to question stability. I choose to trust what is consistent rather than fear what is uncertain. Your presence remains the constant I rely on. I decree that every space ahead of me is already prepared. What I have not yet entered is already overseen. What I have not yet encountered is already accounted for. I do not walk into unknown territory. I walk into territory already held within divine awareness. I declare that the atmosphere of my life remains one of peace, not because life is perfect, but because presence is steady. Circumstances may shift, seasons may change, but the covering remains unchanged. This is where my confidence rests. I affirm that being protected does not make me passive. It makes me free to live without fear, free to move without tension, free to choose without anxiety, free to rest without suspicion. This freedom is part of the gift of being kept. I continue forward without needing to anticipate danger, without needing to prepare for harm, without needing to stay on guard. Awareness does not come from fear. It comes from trust, and trust keeps me balanced. I speak over my life that this peace is not fleeting. It is rooted. It is stable. It is deep. It remains even when emotions fluctuate, even when situations evolve, even when questions arise. It is anchored beyond circumstance. I remain fully aware that what preserves me is not my vigilance, not my control, not my understanding, but your presence that surrounds quietly, your presence that sustains gently, your presence that guides faithfully. I rest in this final, steady assurance without effort and without strain, that I am continually covered, continually guided, continually preserved, and continually held within a presence that does not withdraw, does not weaken, and does not fail. And in this awareness, I remain settled. There is no striving left in me, no inner resistance, no need to defend what is already defended. My heart rests in the truth that I am kept, not by effort, but by presence. This covering is not fragile. It is not uncertain. It is not temporary. It remains. I continue each day with quiet clarity, not seeking signs of danger, not watching for disruption, not scanning for threat, but living normally within extraordinary protection. Peace does not require explanation anymore. It has become familiar. It has become natural. It has become home. I remain grateful without urgency, confident without noise, assured without pressure. This is the posture of one who knows they are seen, who knows they are guided, who knows they are preserved. Nothing needs to be proven. Nothing needs to be forced. Everything unfolds as it should. And as I remain in this covering, I allow this prayer to extend beyond me, gently touching the spaces connected to my life, the people connected to my journey, the environments where peace is still needed, the hearts that are still learning to rest. What flows from presence carries weight without effort. If these words have settled something within you, if this prayer has brought calm to your spirit, if you have felt a quiet shift in your atmosphere, you can remain here. You can return to this space again. You can stay connected to this rhythm of peace, this language of stillness, this reminder that you are not alone. You are welcome to stay, to listen again, to walk this journey of prayer consistently, not from fear, but from trust. You are welcome to remain connected, not because you need protection, but because you desire peace. This is not a place of pressure. It is a place of rest. And if you feel led, you can gently support this space by staying connected, subscribing, and by returning again, by sharing this prayer with someone who may need calm, by allowing others to find this stillness too. Nothing forced, nothing demanded, only what flows naturally. I leave you here without urgency and without fear, knowing that what covers you remains active beyond these words, beyond this moment, beyond this prayer. The presence that keeps you does not end here. It continues with you quietly. Remain in peace. Remain in stillness. Remain under covering.